Chapter 652. The fleece flower was a fake. Wilbur could hardly believe it. He searched through the fleece flower with his spirit energy once more. It was indeed a fake. The fleece flower had been modified with spiritual energy to emit that black glow and herbal fragrance to trick the crowd. It was actually only around 2,000 years old. Far from the 30,000 years it was being promoted in terms of age and worth. Wilbur looked at Bruce in disbelief. He owned this place and was a peak ambience cultivator too. There was no way he did not know the fleece flower was a fake. It seemed like there was only one possibility to the situation then. Bruce, being a peak ambience level cultivator, had created the fake fleece flower himself. With the help of professional alchemists like Ilium and John, it was very possible for him to do so. Wilbur glanced at all three men, falling deep into thought. Why were they selling a fake spiritual herb on their own grounds? Were they not digging their own grave doing so? Upon thinking it over, Wilbur looked over at Leonard. The man was currently looking at the spiritual pill, a contented expression on his face. Wilbur then looked over at Amon and the rest. The three men were sitting in their seats emotionlessly, not even taking part in bidding for the spiritual pill. Realization struck Wilbur at once. This was all a trap designed for Leonard. Leonard was obviously going to bid for these goods, but spending all that money on a couple of fakes would be a huge waste of his money. If he were to hit a certain limit that he spent on them, his financial chain would go bust and his company would be done for. The rest of the Elder Four, along with Bruce, Ilium, and John, were trying to screw Leonard over. Leonard himself was completely oblivious to any of this, staring intently at the spiritual pill and having Catelyn continue to raise her hand. Wilbur gave it some thought, then reached out to nudge Leonard before whispering, "Hey bro, what is it, dude?" Leonard huffed in annoyance. Wilbur kept his voice low. "Don't bother bidding anymore. I'll make you a whole crate of those. You can snack on them however you like." "I'll be damned if I believe you. Who do you think you are? The divine General Trevor Penn?" Leonard jeered. Even the two ladies next to him smirked, shaking their heads at Wilbur. Wilbur was exasperated, but Leonard had brought him here and he could not just watch the guy get himself into hot water without doing anything. "Bro, the fleece flower's a fake. Don't bid for it later. Don't fall for it." Leonard stared at Wilbur incredulously, his expression turning solemn. "Do you know where you are, young man? Keep saying things like that and I'll have to shut you up myself. You've got to trust me, bro. It's a fake, I swear. Don't fall for it," said Wilbur solemnly. Ilium's gaze fell on Wilbur then. His expression flashed coldly. Leonard's expression darkened, and he huffed in a hushed voice, "Another word from you and I'll rip you a new one. I'd be the first to know if something's real or fake. Do you think I'm an idiot?" Wilbur sighed. It seemed like there was no talking to this guy. Just then, Catelyn had won the bid for one spiritual pill. She put it on the table, and Leonard took a satisfied whiff of it. Wilbur shook his head, letting out a deep sigh. Everyone was eager to get one of the remaining spiritual pills now, and the other 9 pills were sold off at $7 to $8 million each. The crowd fell silent after that, waiting for the final item up for auction, the fleece flower. Everyone knew that the regular businessman would not be able to afford it, and it would end up with one of the Elder Four. All 4 men were billionaires, and the crowd was excited to see how the bidding would pan out. Bruce faced the crowd, saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin the bidding for the 30,000-year-old fleece flower. I'm sure all of you know it's old enough to be considered a spiritual herb, and anything brewed with it will have phenomenal effects for sure. In fact, it can even bring someone back from the dead." The crowd nodded eagerly, all of them clearly believing Bruce's words. Wilbur was the only one who merely smirked. Even if the fleece flower was auctioned off at its actual age, it would only be considered half a spiritual herb. To think that Bruce was saying it could bring someone back from the dead. Just then, Ilium glanced over at Wilbur again. He narrowed his eyes as if he was thinking about something.